What's up, guys? I am super excited right now. I got the 65 Mustang behind me. Just got dropped off to me. I'm going to be doing some detailing on it, going to polish the paint and make it shine. You know, maybe go over the interior a little bit, clean up the engine, polish some chrome. So stay tuned to my channel and my Instagram and my Facebook page, because I will be posting tons of pictures of me working on this thing, and of course let you guys see how it comes out at the end. Stay tuned. So it was really cold the next day when I woke up to go out and work on this thing. So coffee. A little bit better. And then I stoked up the fire and waited for the temperature to go up a little bit. When I was pulling this thing out, it was probably about 27 degrees. So a bit cold to be washing a car, but it was time. It's time to go to work. Wanted to give you guys a little bit of an idea of the condition this thing was in. It was pretty swirled and scratched up. We'll get into that a little more once we get into the paint correction portion of working on this car. So as I've said before, every good wash starts out with a good tire and wheel well cleaning. So here I'm actually using a product Super Clean sent me to try out. It's their foaming degreaser. Here I'm using it full strength, and it foams really well. It stuck to the tire, you know, the whole time that I was cleaning out the wheel well. I'm actually kind of interested if I dilute it down, if it's still gonna foam as well at 4:1, because that's generally the ratio that I use Super Clean at. So yeah, I'll try that out in the future and see how well that works. But it chewed right through the grease on the tire, and then I use a little more aggressive brush to get those white walls nice and white again. You guys may have noticed that I actually didn't spray any on the hubcaps. It can be a little risky to spray full strength degreaser on hubcaps and bright work like that. It definitely has a small chance of potentially staining it. So I just took, you know, the wash mitt with some O&R and warm water and just cleaned it. Hubcaps, especially on classic cars that don't get driven all the time, they stay relatively clean because it's not like there's brake dust coming through them. And that tire looks nice and clean after that. So after that, it was time for the general hand wash. Using some nice warm water here too. Also using the 2-bucket system with grit guard so I can minimize reintroducing any dirt onto this thing. You guys may have also noticed I almost always am using my little power washer. On this thing, there was a little bit of Bondo work that was cracked in a spot, and the paint was actually bubbling in a couple spots as well, so I didn't want to take the risk of the high pressure water, so it was just a nice gentle wash with the garden hose. After the general wash, then it was time to go around with the horsehair brush and just take my time and scrub the dirt out from behind the emblems and all the trim. This thing is getting a really big detail. I'm going to be polishing all the trim. I'm going to be polishing all the paint. A 2-step correction, so compounding and polishing. So it really makes sense to take a bit of extra time and give the car a real thorough cleaning before you're going to be running the machine on this thing for hours and hours, because nothing is worse than being in the middle of polishing a panel, especially toward the end of the correction, and you pull out a piece of dirt and you inspect it with the light and wind up having a swirly going halfway across a fender. That is definitely not fun. And always got to give the pony a little extra love whenever you're doing a Mustang. So here we are going to start claying the car and do our mechanical decontamination. I'm actually trying a new product I haven't used before on this. It's actually Griot's Garage Brilliant Finish Synthetic Clay. I actually quite liked it. I usually use the synthetic mitt, and I just felt like this I had a lot better grip on it. I had a lot more control. And it was easier to get in the smaller areas. It was easier to get around door handles and emblems and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think I might actually switch from the mitt to this. I really don't think it slowed me down that much either, having the smaller surface area of doing the work. So on this car, to keep trying to be gentle, I decided to not do the chemical decontamination. It's a little harsh on the paint. It also has the potential to stain the bright work. And hubcap cars usually don't get that much brake dust sticking down the sides of them, so I chose to skip that step. Then all that was left was to dry it off. Use some nice absorbent microfiber towels. One thing that is nice about working when it's this cold is the water takes a long time to evaporate, so you kind of have all the time in the world to just sit there and work on it. Again, when I was claying it, again, drying it off, you know, I really was not worried about water spots at all. Also, there's no reason to use a drying aid when you're drying off a car doing this process. It's so scratched already that I'm not worried about the friction from the towel causing slight scratches. I'm going to be machining this car for multiple hours. My best guess, between doing all the trim and the full paint correction, I'll probably be running a machine on this car in the vicinity of 7 or 8 hours, so I'm not worried about a little tiny hazing that may have happened, and the clay bar treatment probably would scratch the car more than a good microfiber towel would. I wasn't worried about using compressed air on this thing either, because I wasn't going right into paint correction after finishing this wash. I was just pulling it into the garage with the dehumidifier going, and the rest of that water is just going to dry right up before I even start working on it. And that concludes the wash and decontamination portion of working on this Mustang. There'll be another video coming up next where we're going to be polishing all the trim. And then probably another video still on the paint correction and removing scratches. So, as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.